This is All Ears. Hello, dear audience. I am Everett Hopfner. I'm a pianist, a new music explorer, and the host of this podcast. My guest this week is one of my dear colleagues from here in Stuttgart. It is Timm Roller. Timm is a fabulous guitarist. He is an incredibly creative, technological wizard, and he is one of the most just generous and kind and helpful souls I've ever encountered throughout my musical journey. Timm is always on his way somewhere. He can usually be found hauling his guitar around or pushing a large cart full of microphones and computers and turntables and various other sound equipment from one project to another. I am so grateful to have gotten to know Timm here and to have had his support, his technological expertise and his emotional support for many of my own projects here. And I'm very, very pleased to introduce him to you on the podcast right now. You grew up around here, didn't you?
Not around.
Yeah.
in Stuttgart.
So you've been in Stuttgart your entire life?
Yes.
What's kept you here?
Well, in an early age, I wanted to leave Stuttgart because, well, it's where I grew up and I knew it very well, and it's not that huge. I mean, it's like 500,000-600,000 people. Yeah, but there were always some occasions that made me stay, like, my studies and my studies again and my civil service after school, and it always kind of matched. And I was always looking for not just to leave a town for its own sake, but for a reason. And I wanted to do things like, study guitar, and I had the chance to go to Switzerland, but in Stuttgart the guitar class is pretty awesome. And I had the luck the chance to stay here and to be able to study here. So I took that chance, and sadly, it was in Stuttgart, but, well.
Was the guitar your first kind of entry point into music?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I started to play guitar when I was 6. Yeah. There was kind of in the music school, there was an evening where you could try all the different instruments. There was a teacher for every instrument, and it was a big room, and you could go to the trumpet and try to get something out of it at least. But I wanted to learn horn. I think just because the brass was so nice and shiny, and I tried it, and it didn't work at all. I got lost, and then there was the guitar, and it was like, that sounds nice.
What kind of music were you playing when you began?
I learned some chords. For sure, guitar is in a very early stage. It kind of divides in between, I want to be a singer-songwriter stuff, and I want to learn chords, and guitar is just a tool for playing chords, and I was more interested in, playing melodies and chords together, not singing just the guitar for its own. And in the beginning I was in a group with other people, 3 boys, and it was always 7-year-old boys like, man, we grow up. But after a while I noticed I want to learn that thing. I wasn't very eager to practice or something, but I wanted to learn it, I think.
Mm-hmm. When I think of your music now, at least from my impression, you have a lot of interesting things going on. You seem to be very interested in improvisation. You do a lot of interesting projects with new music, contemporary music composers. Do you know what was the path that led you from the beginning of your guitar into this direction of music?
That's really hard to say why I'm where I am, but what I noticed, it was yesterday when I thought about it again. I always struggled with, in general, with the things I do, but in a special kind of with music. Because after a while, when I was, 15, 16, something, I guess, I noticed I don't like guitar at all. And in school, I wanted to go more in the visual arts stuff. And in the last second, I went to music, and it was like, oh damn, that's gonna be tough. And after school, I wanted to study in visual arts. But after 2 years, I was like, maybe it's music again. So there was always some kind of turning away. Even in my bachelor studies, I wanted to quit and go more into architectural stuff. So I always had to look for a purpose to stay in there, because I noticed I can't just do it because I'm doing it. That's not enough for me. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work. So I had always to find a reason to do it. And in different ages and stages in my life, there were different points that interested me. For a while, it really was teaching. I liked teaching in music schools, and it worked. But after a while, I got pretty sick of it and lost interest. And then it was like, okay, well, Baroque. I like that music. Renaissance. It's music I feel kind of. That's a very cheesy way to express that. But it is like it is. And I was into, I want to learn improvisation in the Baroque techniques and stuff. And after a while, I noticed that's interesting, but it won't stay for that long. And I think that maybe, you asked for the reason why I am where I am, is maybe that I was looking for more for a contemporary aspect, more a thing that connects me to my everyday life. Because I think I love, like I said, I love Renaissance and Baroque music, but it's quite far away from my life. When I'm sitting in front of my Super Nintendo or my PlayStation or YouTube, I don't know, and I love that as well. But in contemporary arts in general, there is a connection, or maybe the goal or the meaning of it is that it is connected to our everyday life experience, and it's not separated. Maybe we don't go in a concert hall to listen to Beethoven, or we do it just to be in another world. But I want things to happen or to experience that are connected. And that's when I noticed that I don't live two lives, like the art life and the everyday life, and I quit work at 8 and go home and now I can, watch a movie. No, it has to be connected for myself, and that only works with contemporary arts.
Since kind of finding this direction, do you still have those feelings about turning away and trying something else, or do you feel like engaging in the contemporary art has enabled you to stay on this path?
I think that is the direction I want to stay in. That's a paradox, but that is the path, I think. I noticed we always, myself, I don't want to speak for us, but myself, I think often in borders. Like music is, it ends here, and visual arts, fine arts are starting there. But it took me a while to realize these borders aren't real. It's what we do for, categorizing things, but it's not given by anything. That's just our idea.
I think you've also been able to take this idea of borders and go far further than many people, because in addition to your guitar background, you also built, from my perspective, a pretty astonishing grasp of technology. Just by checking out your website, we can see all the kinds of projects you're able to do, whether it's sitting behind a mixing board and working with electronic sounds, or designing light shows, or these kind of other aspects of technology and visual art. So how did you enter that whole world? Where's the entry point for someone who's a total beginner in this technology world?
It felt kind of natural because it's just what I'm doing, what I'm interested in. And as I said, I was always a lazy student for practicing and stuff. And well, the time has to go somewhere. I'm fascinated by technology in general. It's fascinating to me. And so I wanted to try things and wanted to maybe even sometimes little tiny bit create things. Not just gaming or watching or consuming, but also work with it. And sometimes it was just a very basic thought of, well, if I want to make a record, I have to learn it. When there was the need for it, I took the chance and saw it as a chance to learn something. That's what I like.
Can you maybe go through a few of the highlights or a few projects you've done in the past as a technician or as a programmer or these kind of directions?
Well, last year was a big thing with the light installation in Austria. In Innsbruck, it was in the WKO, it's called. They spent like, I don't know, a few $1 million, euros on building that thing, that building in the center of Innsbruck. Well, and they thought, wow, we are so technological, we should have a very modern installation in here. And yeah, there was two designers that asked me to program that stuff, and I was, to be honest, I now can say that I didn't tell them. I was completely new to programming light stuff. I wasn't new to programming, I did it in Max MSP, but I was completely new to all those light protocols like DMX and stuff. It was so nice to be in a total different area, location, and as well with people who think completely in a different way than musicians, because they are more like, oh, what's the effect? How does it work when you go in there? And it's an installation that will stay for years. Mm-hmm. So we had to keep that in mind. And well, if you got a wall of, I don't know, 30 by 8 meters that you can control and bring to life, and you can tune it to be responsive to things, or to design that. That's an awesome feeling.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that was in the last year at least the most impressive point to myself, the technological.
What is your role in the Hochschule? Because you're also seem to be like the technology mentor. You just like, people come to Timm for questions about their technology stuff. So do you have an official role, or are you just really nice to people?
Well, nowadays it's I have a small job just for supporting mostly composition students in their technological, more programming approach. It's about designing their patches and programs for their electronics.
Do you like having that sort of added responsibility in terms of your regular student work?
Like with electronics or technology, I don't want to consume, but I want to be creating. I want to take part in something, and I want to help. Well, I want to help people with stuff, because I know how to do it, so I could help them. Because if they learn it the hard way, well, it's called hard way for a reason, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I like that.
I think also, I mean, the school must be happy to have you too, because anytime you get beginners playing around with this very expensive equipment sometimes. It's a lot safer to have someone like you around to make sure that nothing gets plugged into the wrong socket.
Well, I did that on my own, but that's a different story.
So let's start to talk about some of your current musical projects. At least from my perspective, what I see most of all is your guitar duo.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about? Well, first of all, let's get over the name. What is the name of your guitar duo?
Well, I think it's best just read.
Just read. So
no, I don't know.
To read it out, it's 3 capital letter A's and then 3 hyphens and then 3 capital letter A's. So AAA hyphen 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 AAA.
Exactly.
Does it have an official pronunciation or is it just?
No, we never thought about it. We made up different versions. We already thought about telling every person another version of it.
How did you meet Thilo?
Well, he's a student as I am, so it was natural. We both study guitar. There was no special occasion.
Right. But it's one thing to work together for one piece and shake hands afterwards and say, well done, thank you, this was fun. How do you build that relationship into something where you're working as true collaborators and looking at projects down the road as a future together?
Well, we had the idea. I can't remember why we started to play together. It was more like, well, you are a little bit into contemporary music. I am, so well. There's a guitar duo by Helmut Lachenmann. We could play it.
Right.
I didn't like it. I was like, okay, that's a chance to learn it, but I didn't like it at all. But I just heard it 2 times. So, and it worked out pretty well. We had huge fun. We learned lots of things, not only in a musical guitar way, but as well as in what we want to do in that stuff, what is important to us. Maybe to the idea that, well, it's only 2 years ago, but it feels like ages, like when I was 14, we wanted to put rock back into contemporary music. That was the feeling, or is still the feeling that we have. And not to be like interpreters that are super clean and playing the right stuff, but to live that shit.
Mm-hmm. I've also seen you with Thilo and with others performing in little improvisation projects, little improvisation groups. What is your connection to improvisation now?
I grew up in a lot of band contexts. I always played in rock bands since I was 14, I think, until I started to study. Which is kind of sad that it stopped exactly then, but there is no connection between both things. But improvisation, I saw always as kind of, again, the thing with the borders, of kind of a thing with restrictions, too much rules for me. I tried to learn or to play some jazz, but it didn't work for me because I felt lost in all those rules and it always sounded like crap, and it made me kind of sad, to be honest. It took over into my normal interpretation of things like playing Bach live. It was like, oh, I'm gonna mess up. I don't understand what's going on. And nowadays I realize it has to do with that improvisation stuff, because what I do nowadays is so much connected to the things I want to do, and I do out of my own, like improvising with noise stuff, that it feels natural to me. So if I mess up in a other piece, contemporary piece, I have the feeling that I can improvise in the style of it. It won't be as great, and I try to avoid it. Let's say that for clear, but it feels like something. I thought of that yesterday. Everyone should do improvising, because it's just let it flow and don't think of rules or something. Just think of what you want to do. That's the only rule, maybe. Think of what you want to do, and always a good friend of mine told me, who's a jazz bassist, told me that when he wanted his improvisations to sound more like, or not to sound like scales, he practiced things. So he practiced Mahler, he practiced Bach, and that was a natural progress to make his improvisational stuff, put it in another direction. Well, if you practice scales, that is what you want to go play live. You're gonna play scales.
I read this somewhere, or someone told me once that when you're improvising, the body is going to do what it knows how to do. And so if you feed your body scales, and if you feed your body Bach, and if you feed your body these things, that when it comes time to hear, make something up, do something spontaneously, you only have this limited range of sounds and motions and ideas that you work on every day. And so if it never occurs to you that actually I can sit on the keyboard and play with my ass, or I can, make tone clusters, or I can strum the strings with the plectrum, if you don't have these motions in your daily practice, or at least in your mind, you're going to sit on the bench and you're going to play scales, because that's what your body's used to doing. So the only limit for improvisation is maybe the limits you put on yourself in your daily practice.
Yeah. What is the things that are going on in your all day, everyday life? And again, there's to me, the connection. I don't improvise every day or think about, the Bach way. It's not how I think. I like to hear it, but it's not when I sit on my guitar or I do some sounds or stuff. That's not the way I do them. So I can train my body and my mind to play that stuff. And I like that. I love that. But still, there's kind of a distance. But when I do kind of a noise piece, and that feels to me like improvising, but with a pretty clear road to go.
So after spending your whole life here in Stuttgart, you are graduating this semester in a few weeks. What happens next? What's your plan for the next few months?
Well, I want to go on vacation. I need that really badly. Talking business now. In the next months, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play in September in Frankfurt together with Thilo at the Lachenmann Opera. Das Mädchen mit den Schwefelhölzern. That is kind of an awesome thing to do. And after that, I'm gonna go to Cologne. Yeah, finally leave Stuttgart. And I will study there media arts. It's the art school of Cologne, and yeah, it's media arts.
Do you see this new direction in your studies as just a natural extension of what you've been doing here?
Completely. Yeah, totally. It's what I do here in kind of a way mostly. And the idea of not having the border of music as a sole thing. Even sound art is not that present, or isn't present at all in the Musikhochschule. That's just the idea of composer, interpreter. And now there is the possibility to have that in a kind of institution. Not fighting, like that's a good thing to do, to be in an institution that isn't giving you the possibility for the stuff you want to do. So you have to fight for it, and you have to find your own way to do it. Because if you want to do it, there will be a way to do it. And that's how I got into that improvisation stuff. That isn't a part of our studies here. But in Cologne, maybe I have the idea clear enough now and can put it into a proper study.
Sure. In honor of Mr. Rogers, I like to kind of put a spotlight on some of the people that have helped us along our journeys. So I wonder if you have someone in your mind that has helped you become the artist that you are today.
I think that's a pretty cheesy answer, but I think everyone. Because I'm pretty sure not only the good experiences or the teachers that were good teachers, and I had them, helped me to get, or brought me into that direction. But as well, the people that kind of, hurt me or something, or that I had to fight with to get what I wanted to, or the teachers that told me stuff that stopped me in working. All that, every single part of that brought me in that direction. I think that it always is great.
This is interesting. Is there a particular example that comes to mind when you think of these fights you've had to have?
There are a few.
Do you want to get into it, or is this dangerous for anything?
No, it's not dangerous at all. I won't name anyone, but in my studies I had 3 guitar teachers at the Musikhochschule, and one of them, I studied with him a year. It was part was my idea to do it, because I knew he has a totally different approach. He's more into, Spanish guitar expressionism, and I was more into, Baroque Renaissance or contemporary. So I thought, he has a great power in what he does. And that was what I liked. And after a couple of months, I practiced just for the reason to be in the lesson, not to be there unprepared.
Right.
Just because I thought that is the least I should do. But every single thing he said to me, I could say, no, that's not how I want to do it. That's not the way I think. That's not the way the thing I want to express in that moment. It's totally different approach, but still it got me thinking. And for a week I was like, fuck you, man. And then I thought, I still won't do it, but I see why you want to do it. And that is what I learned from it. So still, it was a year that got me pretty far away from playing guitar, and still got me in some kind in the direction of doing music, and in the end playing guitar again more and more. So that is how they work sometimes.
That's fascinating, and probably the most unique answer we've had for this part of the show. So that's really cool. Last question, Timm. How can the listeners keep up with your projects, find you, see what you're doing?
Well, I have a homepage that I try to update at least one time a year. timmroller.com. And, I'm bombing Facebook with my stuff, and that's the most.
And there's also a website for the duo as well.
Yeah, that is down at the moment, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
But it will be up again, and if you remember, aaa-aaa.com.
And I will have links to all of that on the show notes for this episode on my website. Timm, that's it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. It was very interesting to chat, and I really appreciate this.
I thank you, because it got me thinking about a few things again.
Maybe some things you didn't want to think about.
No. Every single thing I wanted to think about.
Very good.
That is fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is it for this episode of All Ears. Thank you so much for listening, as always. There will be another episode up in mid-July. I put up 2 of these every month on my website, everetthopfner.com, and on iTunes. We've got time, I guess, for a quick programming note here. I have recently emerged from my practice hermitage. I have rejoined human society, which has been rather special. For those of you who don't know, I just completed my grad recital here at the Musikhochschule in Stuttgart, which is lovely. I'm very happy to have that finished, and very pleased for the experience that I've had here. But this also means that this little chapter of my life in Germany is quickly coming to an end. After 5 years away, I have made the decision to transition back to Canada for an indeterminate amount of time. I will have one more episode from this home base, and then, starting in August, I'll be back in Manitoba. I'm really looking forward to kind of reintegrating into the very lively scene there and being a bit closer to home. You can follow me on Twitter at EvHop, and you can follow the show at This Is All Ears. The show logo was designed by Winnipeg-based graphic designer Isabel Kalimnik. Every time you like, tweet, share, or recommend All Ears, you help emerging artists like Timm reach a wider audience. Your feedback is always welcome. You can come and say hi at everetthopner.com. Just follow the links. I am off to Italy in a couple weeks, which I am really looking forward to. I'll be at the Casal Maggiore Festival in Italy for the 7th year in a row, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to bring my equipment and I will try to get some field pieces produced from there. There are lots of fabulous young musicians at that festival, and I will try to capture some of their voices for future broadcasts for you. It's a very special, I call it my summer home. I love this festival. I've gotten to meet so many special people there, and yeah, I'm excited to introduce you to some of them. This should be fun. Alright, enough of my voice. We will talk to you again in mid-July. Have a wonderful day.